One thing I think people tend to overlook is how all of their choices, all of their decisions, and their way of living their life has led them to where they are today. So, where you currently stand right now in your life is a result of the decisions of your past. And what I've realized is that sometimes you don't realize the change that needs to be made within yourself until you see the results that that way of living your life gets you. And so in today's video, I want to talk about how rock bottom is sometimes a necessary part of your story and a necessary part of your life in order to finally make a necessary change within it that you didn't even realize you needed to make happen. And what I want you to understand heading into this video is that I understand where you are. You know, I've been at a rock bottom point before. I understand that some of y'all might be at that point right now. Some of y'all might have been at it in the past, or some of y'all might be scared of reaching that point. But I'm able to provide this video. I'm able to do motivation on Instagram, TikTok. I'm able to do all these things because I've once felt that pain. I've experienced that pain. I know what it feels like to be at the lowest point in your life. And what I've learned to understand is that sometimes at the lowest points of your life is where you realize the most about your life, both in your friendships and your relationships, about yourself. And it can all be a turning point if you allow it to be, if you perceive it that way. And so what you have to realize when it comes to rock bottom is that you can either choose to stay there and settle there and just accept that way of living, or you can see it as a way of where you need to make change within yourself in order to become a better version of you and basically never return to that lowest point of your life ever again. And you know, when it came to my rock bottom point in life, it was like a thing of I lost somebody, and as a result of losing that person, I also lost myself. And so when it came to my rock bottom point, I was at a state of depression. I was at a state of constantly blaming myself, going through all these negative thoughts and just like not enjoying life, having no type of happiness, no type of peace, always being in a mental warfare of trying to figure out why to a situation that I literally had no control over. And so in that particular situation, it showed me what I lacked in my life. So it was showing me, hey, you lack self-love, you lack self-respect, you lack being okay, you lack responsibility for your own happiness, responsibility for your own peace. It showed me basically what I was depending on others to provide to me that I wasn't able to provide to myself. And so as a result of people coming and going in and out of my life and having my happiness depend on them, or having my peace depend on them, or having my confidence depend on them, basically if they chose to leave my life, or they made the decision that, hey, they didn't want to deal with me, all those things would go with them. So if they were in my life, hey, I was happy. But the minute they left my life, my happiness went, my confidence went, my self-love went, my self-respect went, my boundaries went. And so basically all these things would leave me because I hadn't learned how to provide them to myself. And so what I always tell people is that my rock bottom was such a necessary point of my story. It's really what sparked me to make change within myself for the better. It's really what made me realize a lot of things about myself and realize a lot of things about different relationships and things like that. That's what sparked me to start doing self-improvement. And so as a result of going through that situation and losing myself and having to really find myself again, I realized that, hey, you got to develop self-love. You got to develop self-respect. You got to develop boundaries and actually enforce them. You got to develop so many different areas of your life so that people aren't just coming and going out of your life and basically allowing you to determine the state you're in. So like, I don't want every time I lose somebody breaks up with me, somebody decides they don't want to be my friend, someone says they don't like me, you know, I don't want all these different things or decisions out of my control, because again, other people are making these decisions. I don't want things out of my control to always be able to have control over me, essentially. And so as a result of knowing that and being determined to not allow those things to have that control over me, I had to learn how to provide things to myself so I wasn't depending on others for it. And so you can get happiness from others. I can get happiness, or people can provide happiness to my life. but I'm not reliant upon them to provide it to me. Like, they're just really adding on top of the happiness I already have in myself. They're just adding on top of the love I have for myself. They're adding on top of the boundaries I will already enforce. And that's just my story, but rock bottom is going to look different for everybody. Sometimes it's going to be homelessness because you weren't handling your money the correct way. Sometimes it's going to be depression because, again, you were depending on others to provide happiness to you. Some of y'all, it's going to be a health scare. In order for you to finally realize, like, you need to start taking your health and your weight seriously and the way you're eating. Like, rock bottom in that lowest point in your life is going to look different for everybody, and it's going to point you to basically where you need to make changes if you choose to see it that way. And what I've also realized is that rock bottom for a lot of people is going to create a drive within you. If you really get to a point where you're at your lowest point in your life, and you're at your lowest point in your life, and you come to the realization that I can't allow myself to be here. I deserve better. I deserve better for myself. I know I'm capable of so much more than this. I know I deserve better than this. Like, you're going to create a drive and a fire within you that makes you make the necessary changes that you probably always been avoiding. Like, a lot of times I probably knew I didn't have that self-love, or I knew I didn't have that self-respect, or I knew I wasn't eating healthy, or I knew I wasn't working out and just like not taking my life seriously. A lot of times I probably already knew it, but I chose to ignore it. But as a result of seeing the results of ignoring it, it made me say, okay, I really need to lock in. Okay, I really need to start making these changes. It made a drive and a fire within you to actually like start taking your life seriously. And so as a result, for me, that led me to content creation. That led me to reading books. That led me to journaling. That led me to creating boundaries and a sense of self-love and a sense of self-respect, and actually enforcing those things, making sure I'm placing myself in environments that actually deserve me. Like, I changed so much from that one situation to the point that I appreciate it so much, because had I not gone through that rock bottom point, I wouldn't be making this video, because I wouldn't care about motivation and self-love and all these various different topics. I wouldn't have boundaries because I would have just kept letting people violate them. I wouldn't know the importance of taking life seriously and not just waiting for a life to come to you, but instead taking control of your life. I wouldn't see the value in not allowing other people's decisions to have control over you, or not allowing things out of your control to have a complete control over you. Like, that whole experience changed my whole perspective and whole viewpoint on life, and it can do the same for you if you choose to see it that way. Because again, where you're actually in that state of rock bottom and you're feeling the pain that comes with it, you're feeling that depression, you're feeling that loneliness, you're feeling that lack of self-love for yourself, you feel that just like sense of not being able to be free in life, or just like your life not going well, your life just not being a good life, and just like being in a constant state of struggling. When you actually feel those things and experience them and feel all the different emotions and feelings that come with them, you get to a point where it's like you're tired. You realize that you deserve better and you want better, and you're going to make better for yourself. You're not going to allow yourself to sit in this state. And again, like I said, it makes you realize all these different things about your life. And so for me, it made me realize, hey, the relationships I was in, like friendships, it made me realize that, hey, when I'm at my lowest point, only these people was checking in on me. So now I really see who is or isn't a friend. Now I see who truly does care about me. Now I see like who I can depend on or I can count on to show up in times of need, who's reliable and stuff like that. But you're going to come to all these different realizations about your life, because you're just going to overall evaluate your whole state and what even got you to that rock bottom point. Because again, like I said, all your decisions, all your choices, and your just way of living life had led you to that point. So you begin to evaluate all those different things. You begin to evaluate the choices you make. So that might be the time you're waking up, who you're talking to, the amount of time on your phone. That might be the food choices you're making. It's just going to make you overall evaluate your whole life. And every decision you make in it, and realize the areas where you need to make change to like start living your life more intentionally to get the better that you deserve for yourself, so that you can start improving yourself and getting yourself into a better state. Because for me, it made me realize so much. Like, it made me realize like I was overvaluing others more than I value myself. It made me realize, hey, I was putting in no effort or had no direction. Like I literally had no idea where I was going. I was just like kind of seeing, ooh, that looks good. Ooh, that looks good. Whether it was a girl, whether it was a temporary job, whether it was a new video game, whether it was just like some other distraction, a party, like my sense of direction in life wasn't aligned. Like I didn't have a goal, and I was like, I'm going to this point in life, or I'm chasing after this in life, or I'm trying to achieve this in life. It was kind of just like, oh, that looks good right now. That looks good right now. That looks like all these different temporary distractions and temporary fulfillments that overall just led me to nowhere in life. It just had me at a standpoint of just doing shit, like not even living life with purpose. And it also made me question like where I was putting my energy into. Like, was some of the things I was even valuing in life worth the energy? Like, is it worth the energy to entertain that argument? Is it worth the energy to respond to that negative comment or the response to that negative text? Is it worth the energy to do all these things on social media, post this, post that, trying to get attention from people? Is it worth the energy trying to get other people to see the value I see within myself? Like, you just come to all these different realizations because you realize that your way of living and how you had been living your life, like it wasn't good. Like, something needed to change. Like, you were taking yourself away from your own happiness and your own peace as a result of living your life that way. And, you know, I'm going to make a part 2 to this because I know some of y'all watching this are still not going to make change. Some of y'all are going to watch this video and continue living your life the way you want to live it. So I'm going to make a part 2 talking about the importance of not waiting until it's too late. But for some of y'all, it's going to take you actually hitting rock bottom to finally like see it for yourself. Like, some of y'all have to go broke. Some of y'all have to become homeless. Some of y'all have to get a health scare where you get in the hospital or have like a heart attack. Like, as harsh as it sounds, that's the reality. Like, sometimes it's going to take that happening to you for you to finally like make a change for the better, make a change and realize that, hey, you're not living your life the way you should be living your life. You're not living your life in a good way. But yeah, rock bottom and just the hard times in life sometimes are just a necessary part of the story. And you have to choose to see it that way. You have to choose to see it as, hey, this has a purpose in my story. This is trying to teach me something. This is trying to tell me that I need to change in various different aspect of my life. Like, sometimes like it's just a necessary part, and you'll learn to appreciate it for it teaching you different things, for you learning the lessons there, for it taking you through that experience while you're still young and while you're still figuring life out. You'll learn to appreciate it more. Like, I appreciate that person who left my life because now I had the rest of my life to understand that lesson and understand the importance of standing on boundaries and things like that. Like, you'll just learn to kind of value that experience a whole lot more. But yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope you were able to learn a whole new different perspective. Join up on the Discord, join up on the school community. All those will be down in the description. Be sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notices. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.